welcome back to another episode of Young Adult Problems. Happy New Year, happy 2023. I hope you guys were able to spend the holidays with your family and your friends and your loved ones. I hope you all stayed warm and had the time to do some self-reflection, take care of yourself, take that time for yourself because 2022 was a hectic year and 2023 I think is also going to be a hectic year. Today's topic is all about struggling with your self-image. Self-image is something I've always had a difficult time with since I was younger, and now that I'm an adult, it's still something that persists and it's still something I deal with every day. And so I want to preface today's podcast by saying that I don't have any advice or lessons to offer here today about self-image or about finding confidence because it's something I'm still trying to work through. I'm still trying to learn how to look in the mirror and be happy with what I see. And so with where I am today, I just don't feel like I'm in the right position yet to be, offering any advice on how to deal with self-image struggles or confidence issues. I'm still trying to come to terms with my own self-image. And so I kind of just wanted to talk about this here because I know it's something that a lot of people go through. A lot of people deal with insecurities about themselves. They tear themselves down. And it can be hard going through that and feeling like you can't tell anyone about it. Sometimes you have to put on this front of, I'm happy today, I love myself, even when that's not always the case. And the only time you can really express your emotion about, your self-image struggles are when you're completely alone, when you finally have the chance to cry or look in the mirror and start being mean to yourself. So I just figured that today's the day to finally talk about it. I've never really spoken about my insecurities to anyone, and so sometimes it feels like, I'm the only one feeling these hateful things, but I know I'm not, and, maybe you're experiencing something similar. So if in any way this podcast can help, then I'm glad we talked about it, even though it's something that is not easy to talk about. So I've always struggled with my self-image. Everything from, my body in general to the small details on my face. I would look at myself in the mirror every day and all I would see were my flaws. I would look at my hair and think, it's too frizzy today. Oh, it's too flat at the top, but too puffy at the bottom. I would look at my smile and I would just hate it. I would practice smiling in the mirror and I felt like smiling made me look worse. Then I would pick up a compact mirror and dissect every feature on my face. I would look closely at my nose and look at all of the pores that I had and all of the oil buildup. And so every time I looked in the mirror, I never really thought that I was pretty. I would just look at myself and be like, this is what's wrong with my self-image today. And that's generally kind of what goes through my brain when I struggle with my image. There have been a few times, though, where I've looked in the mirror and I've actually felt, pretty. I felt like it was a better day than normal, Maybe I was headed off to a dinner or headed off to some kind of event and I put in a little bit more effort to try to make myself look more presentable. And I kind of liked how it turned out, right? Maybe my hair just happened to fall into place better that day. Or maybe my eye makeup was better than usual or something. I would leave the house not feeling totally insecure. I would have a little confidence boost because I was like, okay, I look more presentable today. And then I would go to the event or the dinner or whatever. And in the middle of that, someone would take a picture of me and I would see it, or I'd see my reflection in the mirror. And I'll feel awful about myself again. I'll think to myself, is this really what I look like right now? I feel like I looked decent when I left the house, but, I'm looking at myself now and I don't see anything attractive. And, if I can't see anything attractive about me, what is anyone else in the room going to think? Right? They're probably all thinking, oh, you're ugly, oh, you're ugly. And that's an unhealthy thought, but it's what goes through my mind because I'm kind of built up on my insecurities. And there's a reason why I've always struggled with my image. The biggest reason that I've always felt so insecure is because of the comments that people have made throughout my life. Um, you know, people say things and those comments hurt and they stick with you, especially if they impact you when you're younger. It's like no matter how much time has passed, time doesn't always heal. And hurtful things that people say about your appearance can affect you for the rest of your life and just influence how you see yourself. I remember the first comment that I got. It was when I was in elementary school. I was going to meet my sister so that our parents could pick us up after school. And so I met with my sister. We went home. And I remember at home while we were eating a snack, my sister had said, "My classmate thinks you're ugly." And, I was only 9. I didn't really know what to do with that information. But what I did know is that it hurt me. I think that was my first time really feeling a pit in my stomach because I was just like, wow, some random person who I don't even know just called me ugly. So I must be ugly. I kind of just sat with that information and I just accepted it. Eventually, though, I moved on. I was just a kid, not really hyper focused on any of the hurtful things that people were saying. And so I wasn't actively thinking about it. I just continued to have fun and live my elementary school kid life. And, the words didn't bother me that much. But then as I got older, I would continue to hear other comments about my appearance. In middle school, I had this huge crush on this guy, and he started hanging out with my friend group. So it was me and like 2 other girls. One day, one of the girls was like, "Hey, Emmy, I need to tell you something." And she basically told me that my crush thought I was the least pretty girl in the friend group. And she didn't really say that out of concern. It was more of just like a blatant statement of like, "Hey, he said you're the least pretty girl. Anyways, what did you have for lunch?" I remember that one really hurt. And I just remember crying myself to sleep that night thinking, like, man, am I really that ugly? This was in middle school. It's the time when you're starting to develop your own thoughts about your self-image. You're starting to develop an understanding of yourself and who you are and who you want to be and how you feel about yourself and, your confidence. It's the prime age for developing like who you are, right? That's when it begins, really. So at that age, as I was trying to figure out who I was, hearing these types of comments would influence what I thought about myself. Like I knew my friends were pretty, but just to be called out for being, the least pretty girl, it hurts when you're young. And if you were to experience it now as an adult, it would still hurt just as bad. So I just remember losing complete confidence in myself then. But again, life moves on. Later that year, someone else in middle school had started laughing at my yearbook picture because he wasn't used to me without my glasses on at the time. And I just remember thinking, do I look that weird without my glasses? Like so weird that you have to laugh at me for it? Well, okay then, maybe I'll just start wearing my glasses for the rest of my life so that nobody can judge me without them. And that's exactly what happened. I'm 23, and to this day, I won't take off my glasses for literally anybody. So experiencing that when you're so young, hearing people call you ugly or the least attractive or laughing at you for your looks, especially as someone who really took things to heart and believed what everyone said, that really affected my self-esteem growing up. And I did feel like the ugliest person in the room. It sticks with you for life. And so just to hear that over the years, whether it's like a big deal or whether it's a subtle comment, it builds up and then it just makes you think, okay, someone commented on my eyes, those probably look weird. Someone commented that I'm least attractive, then my face is generally probably kind of weird. And so every time someone pointed something out about anything about me, like that was another thing to add to the list that I didn't like about myself. I don't have a strong enough mindset to be like, who cares what people think, right? Now I'll always be conscious of, did they just see me laugh? My smile's kind of ugly. Oh, did they just see me without my glasses? No, I don't want them to see me without my glasses. Now it's just tiring and frustrating and hurtful every time I go out because I'm extra conscious of what I look like. I remember this time in college that kind of really sealed the deal on my belief that I was ugly. My self-confidence had basically plummeted after that. So in college, it was Halloween, and my friend and I last minute decided to go to a Halloween party. We had dressed up in the same outfits. I'm not entirely sure what we were trying to dress up as, but I do remember that we didn't have any costumes, so we decided to do some little space buns. And I wanted to look cute, so I also, put some makeup on, which is something I didn't typically do. But I was like, hey, it's like gonna be a fun night out. Like, let me put some makeup on. Let me try to look cute. I did some liner. I did some lashes. And then we headed out. And when we arrived, we sat in this little enclosed patio area. At first, I was like having fun. There were cute little string lights. Like, it wasn't too chaotic yet. And I was just sitting with my friend and we were vibing. And then as time went by, more people started to arrive. And suddenly, the whole night, all the boys at the party would want to talk to my friend. All the girls at the party would want to talk to my friend. And all night, I was pushed to the side. And I knew exactly why everybody wanted to talk to my friend. It was because she was really pretty. And they weren't wrong. She was and is really pretty. But in that moment, I felt so empty. Because every single person that had said hi to her pushed me aside as if I didn't exist. Because I wasn't as pretty as her, I wasn't as attractive. And I get it, I get it. But it hurt still. And I felt like the ugliest person there that night. And so I just remember smiling throughout the party, nobody talking to me because they all were interested in my friend. And like, I wanted to leave. So hours later, I finally was able to leave. I ran back to my dorm, cried my eyes out because I felt so ugly. And that was the last party I ever went to. People today still make constant comments about me. Sometimes I can't even go a week without someone telling me, "Oh, you're so pale." And they say it like it's a bad thing. Before, I had never even thought about, how pale I was. I'd never thought about it until people started saying to me, "Oh, you're so pale. Oh, you're so pale. When did you get so pale?" And, the same people would tell me that week after week, as if I didn't hear it the first time. They would go as far as to compare arm tones to see, who was the palest. And like, you clearly told me already that I was pale, like 5 or 6 times. The fact that people had to keep pointing out that I was pale, it made me feel like it was my only defining characteristic. That was the only thing people saw when they look at me. No one was saying it like it was a good thing. Again, I wasn't even aware of this. I didn't even think it was a thing to be self-conscious about. And so after that, I bought tinted moisturizers. I bought concealers. I bought bronzer. I bought everything that would make me look, I guess, like less of a vampire, I just felt like such an oddball after hearing that comment over and over. Even if it was the same people telling me, I felt like it was something everybody noticed. And so now every day when I go out, I'm like, maybe I should throw something onto my face, give it a splash of color. But even with things like makeup, like I don't have a good relationship with that. For example, sometimes there are times where I find the motivation to try to make myself look decent. Even if it's going to the mall, sometimes I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll just put some lashes on or whatever. I'll do my eyes, I'll do a little face, I'll do my hair. And after I put my makeup on, I look at myself in the mirror and I think, I'm still ugly. This makeup didn't make me look any better. Whether it's just my face or the fact that I don't know how to do makeup, I don't believe I deserve to wear makeup. Because the makeup isn't doing anything for me anyways. I feel like I'd only deserve to wear makeup if I could look, even remotely better. But because everybody around me, they wear makeup and they look so pretty and so beautiful and they're so good at it. And when I do it, I feel like it's so weird. It's so not me to do it. And I get embarrassed. I get embarrassed because I'm wearing makeup to make me look better, yet I still look so ugly. And so I end up either taking the makeup off before I go out, or I'll go out and I'll be very self-conscious of the fact that I'm wearing makeup. Because it's like, oh, why did she do her eyes so much if they still look weird, you know? I just don't feel like I deserve to wear makeup because, you know, it's not doing anything for me. It's the same thing for me with outfits too. I have a fun time choosing out fun outfits. I like going to stores and looking at different pieces of clothing and seeing like what could pair well together. But executing is another thing for me. I will buy the clothes that I think look cute. I'll create a cute outfit and then I'll put the outfit on and think, wow, this is not cute anymore. Maybe it's not flattering for my body shape. Sometimes I think to myself, you know, if I go out in this outfit, people aren't going to think it matches me or my vibe or my energy, you know. They're going to think, oh, that's kind of weird that she's wearing this outfit. And so again, it feels like I don't deserve to wear the outfit because it's not my quote unquote style or doesn't match me. And when I say it doesn't match me, I'm saying that, you know, people view me as quiet. People wouldn't view me as someone to, you know, wear a certain type of clothing or to dress a certain way because I don't look the part. And so what gives me the right to wear such an outfit that would only look good on a good-looking person? And so I feel like I'm not doing the outfit justice. I'm ruining the outfit, and I'll take it off and I'll just put on the most oversized clothes. I'll put a big hood over my head, big jacket, big pants. You can't even tell who I am at that point because I feel more comfortable in covering myself up and being unidentifiable than to go out in an outfit that I think is cute but that I feel insecure in because I feel like I don't deserve to wear it or I make the outfit look bad. And I know that's not good for me. I should find more confidence in myself, yet I can't right now. It's just hard for me. You know, after hearing all those comments, I started picking at my own body image. It wasn't something that people had ever commented on, but because so many people commented on my other physical appearances, I started to dig deeper and be like, oh, this is something else I could fix. You know what I mean? And so body is one of those. I would have unhealthy periods of dieting and I knew it and I would brush it aside just to be like, oh, it's not super unhealthy because I'm still okay. But there would be days I would skip meals and think to myself, I'm starving. This means I am intaking less calories and this means my stomach fat will not grow. And I would do this for a while, and then maybe something will happen. Like, I'll go hang out with a friend, and I'll start eating bad. And that bad eating persists for like a week or 2 weeks. And then I'll be like, okay, I feel like my stomach is expanding at an unhealthy rate. Let me starve myself again. And so I'll spend the next week trying my best to eat less. And it's a cycle. And you know when that started? That started back in like middle school. It started in middle school because that's the age I was already feeling insecure at. And now I'm an adult and I still struggle with that. You know, I know it's unhealthy and I realize that it's something I need to fix. And I guess to just sum all of that up, all of the struggles that I'm dealing with now, it's very hard to find an instance where I feel comfortable in my skin and I feel confident in my skin because I'm afraid that people will continue to see me in the bad ways that I see myself. I haven't taken a single picture of myself where I'll feel attractive. I actually hate taking photos. I avoid being in photos because I look at them and I'm like, this is what the photo captured? I'm insecure about my smile, and now I cover it up every time I do smile or laugh because maybe I'm showing too much gum. Maybe my smile's too big. And when people say something nice about my appearance, I never believe it. I think they're delusional because I'm like, how could you see that, you know? I actually started this podcast with the intent of doing video form because I used to be really into making videos. So, I wanted the visual aspect. But, I talked myself out of it. I was like, I don't need to show my face because I was scared of how people would judge me if they saw me. People leave so many hateful comments in general. Like, I don't know if I could handle that. And then the fact that I would be making myself more vulnerable by showing my face, that was a scary risk, and that was a risk I wasn't willing to take. And as much as I would love to create engaging visual content, I haven't reached that point yet where I'm comfortable. And so that's just another example of how my insecurities with my self-image impact my daily decisions. And you know what the sad part is? As I was thinking about what I wanted to say in this podcast, as I was jotting down points about, the things I wanted to talk about, I started to get emotional because I was writing all of these things down, and it hurt that the list of things that made me feel ugly just kept growing. I just kept adding to it. Every moment that I felt ugly, every moment someone else made me feel ugly, like I added it to the list. And it really made me realize, like, wow, I don't treat myself with respect. It's sad to see that I view myself with such disgust sometimes. I'm my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst hater. If I heard someone saying these degrading things about someone else's appearance, I would have never tolerated it. I would have stepped in and stood up for the person. But when I say these things to myself every day, it's like I accept it. It made me realize that I need to treat myself with respect. And that's a hard thing to do. But how am I going to live life happy if I can't even accept my own physical appearance? Maybe 2023 is the year to find, a newfound confidence. Because I guess just going over the whole timeline of when it all started made me realize how long this has been affecting my life. And it's quite sad to hear myself say these things out loud. But I also think it's good that I talked about this because I wanted to share this side of me that I think a lot of other people deal with too. We have different societal standards of beauty. We tend to compare ourselves to others. We have bad experiences that have affected, the rest of our lives. And so these are common struggles that we face. And I hope that hearing about this makes you realize that there are other people going through this and makes you feel a little bit less alone. So I hope this podcast helped in some way. It is kind of a heavy topic and kind of hard to talk about, especially since I don't really express these types of things to anyone. But that's what Young Adult Problems is all about. So if you made it all the way till the end, thank you again for listening. And yeah, I'll see you next week with another episode of Young Adult Problems. Bye.